What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as Rhyme Avatar, and today we're going to be going over the full BT11 meta breakdown. So guys, this is the part of the video I gotta say, you gotta smash that like button if you enjoy this content, because it pushes the video out in the algorithm, out to all of you guys to enjoy, and to get more viewers into the content. So without you guys mashing that like button, or even just leaving a nice comment down there below related to the topic of the video, it helps with that bloody YouTube algorithm. Without a further ado, let's get into the video. So let's take a look at the full breakdown, shall we? This is basically dominated by 105 Black War Greymon decks, making it a whopping 20.3% of the meta. So that's something to really keep an eye out on, because we know what Black War Greymon can do. It is the deck to beat in BT11, but that could always be changed if we reach into our side, and the best of 3 format changes up that consistency issue. If it is a deck that's similar to Jessamon, that requires that consistency to always be there, you know what happens when you don't see your consistency pieces, right, boys and girls? It kind of just tanks the deck. So we might see Black War Greymon X just be dominant boy, or we might not see it as dominant boy. We'll have to see what happens. So next deck that kind of took in the tops is Crossheart. There's two differences here. One was Mervamon based, that's the top end, and then you had just Crossheart, which was just ×7 base. So one was more of a control deck, the other one was more complete aggro, using ×4 to loop away. Then you went into ×5, and then went into Mervamon to produce another body and just win that way, because it had Rush as another option. So just stuff like that really did make the deck play a little bit different between the two. One was control base, and as I said, the other one was just straight aggro, and made it kind of feel different. Another deck that just kind of kept up with the meta was Grandis, because of the fact is Grandis had the ability to climb over Black War Greymon X. Being able to climb over Black War Greymon X was huge, because Black War Greymon X was really a threat to deal with, but it doesn't have a battle protection similar to Waregurumon's and the Garurumon line's protection. So Black War Greymon being able to be hit and removed off the field is one way of thinking about it. Then you have Mervamon Loop. This was just basically being able to pop and playing Mervamon and getting bodies on the board with its Crossheart ability, being able to produce 2 with if you played something with a Retaliation, and then instantly now you have Retaliation, Block, or Rush, and now you're more of a threat. Then you have Mugandramon, Machinedramon being able to apply pressure by being a different stack kind of style of deck, and then just being able to, with the new analog band, speed up your tempo, extend your plays, get you in memory situations a lot better, just stuff like that. And then forcing your opponent to redirect their attacks into the Machinedramon, who is a lot beefier and can take a few hits because of the removal stuff, really did help out. So that's just something to think about there. And then All Force Veedramon being able to restand and swing, and that's just because you get to spit out Tamers and using your most powerful card, and that is your credit card, to play all, the arenas, secrets that are going to be probably pricey. Then you have like Mastemon being the other underdog deck that might see some competitive play. Yes, we do have like Blue Flare, War Greymon, Examon, Jessamon, Bloomlord, Ovanimon Loop, Beelzemon, Metal Garurumon, the Galacticmon deck and stuff like that, just kind of just holding their tempos and stuff like that. They kind of just got random one-of wins and couple wins there, here and there, but nothing too crazy. So let's just take a complete breakdown. At Black War Greymon X at 105 wins, Shoutmon ×7 at 36, Crossheart at 34, Grandis at 26, Minervamon at 25, Machinedramon at 23, All Force at 23, Mastemon at 23, Blue Flare 20, War Greymon 19, Examon at 18, Jessamon at 17, Bloomlord at 14, Ophanimon Loop at 13, And just a small kind of tidbit on this. Beelzemon didn't get its starter deck, advanced deck, in this format. They got moved to December, so a lot of players did not have access to that advanced deck. So that's something that also skewed for their purple events. That happened in that whole month, by the way. So then you have Beelzemon for 12, Metal Grumon at 10, Galacticmon at 9, Phoenixmon at 6, which is probably a sleeper pick, Armor Rush at 5, Beelzestar at 5, Bellastar as another name, Justimon at 5. This is the Justy Kick deck that basically built tempo by spitting out Tamers and then using Justy Kick with a bunch of Mimis on board to become a very cheap play a Mega out of the deal, and then you would loop through the Mega that way, and it became really interesting. The Justy Kick just being able to kill most things is really nice. Dark Knightmon at 5, Purple Hybrid at 5. Yes, Purple Hybrid is a deck in this format because of the purple only tournament that you could win a Beelzemon in. Alphamon at 4, Sakuyamon at 4, Setcon at 4, Purple Aggro at 4, Black Wargreymon OTK, which is basically promo Black Wargreymon. You built this giant stack. It's similar to Grandis, but just doesn't have the powerhouse behind it. Well, sort of does because of the Yuya that'll let you gain the boost in the power-up climb, which could lead to game wins that way. And then you have Gallantmon at 3, Blue Hybrid at 3, Red Hybrid at 3, Bagra Army at 2, Sukamon at 2, 4 Greats, Mervamon at 2, Titanmon at 2, Lilithmon at 2, Dex Daruga at 1, Green Armor at 1, Marsmon at 1, Aegistramon at 1, aka Crabshack, Yellow Hybrid at 1, Anubismon at 1, D-Reaper at 1, Red Purple Imperial Dramon, Rise Greymon X, Gabumon actually came back, and that was just basically Leomon with Gabumon engine in there, Megazoo Durabrickmon 1, Dia Brigade 1, Pyildramon at 1, Shine Greymon at 1, Bahumon at 1, Purple Control at 1, Venice Myotismon at 1, Rusty Tyranno at 1, Hercules Kabuterimon at 1, and 1 Diaboromon deck, equaling out to being 118 total deck stat. Did quite well during the meta, which is very impressive. So it's good to see that a lot of decks representation, but we know for a fact that Black Wargreymon X is going to be the deck to beat, which is surprising because when Grandis was the deck to beat, what happened? Where Grumon took dominance, but we'll have to see if Black Wargreymon X will take that dominant slot that it's supposed to. Then let's go into it. First deck we're going to talk about is none other than Black Wargreymon X itself, because of the powerhouse in itself being able to have reboot. But when your Digimon with the highest DP attack, when your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may switch the target to the attack to this Digimon. Redirecting attacks into boss Digimon really is annoying. And this really helps slow down your opponent, because their goal is not to swing into your Digimon. Their hope and praise is that they're going to hit something smaller in security and not lose their Digimon. Being able to force the redirect into your Digimon really makes it a pain in the rear. Bonus turn, once per turn, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, this Digimon has Black Wargreymon or X antibodies Digievolutions. You may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. Being able to control that board, but if you have a single stack, you're kind of screwed. So Black Wargreymon X really applies a lot of pressure that way, but also has Hades Force, which is basically when you would use this card if you have a Digimon with the X antibodies Digievolution cards in play, reduce the memory cost by 2. Holy cow, this becomes a 5 cost kill thing. Choose any number of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, whose total level play cost adds up to the play cost of one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name in play or less. Delete them. Then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name may attack your opponent. Free value, free extra swings in. It's really nasty. And it's kind of just sad when you're facing this. We know what Black Wargreymon's in here for. That popping the Tamer Fest is what the goal is. Then you have like Metal Greymon X that gives you a protection from Digievolution and minusing DP. But also when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, if this Digimon's name contains Greymon or Omnimon in its name, automatically trash the top card of your opponent's security. This gets really annoying pretty quickly because if this happens in the unsuspend step, you instantly now punish your opponent because they had to unsuspend. So the deck gets ridiculous pretty quickly, but also this helped the deck become ridiculous faster, because when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with Greymon in its name, reduce the G-Evolution cost by 1 for each color, but also has a small protection in when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name. In effect, would delete it or return it to hand or deck. You may return 1 X antibody in this Digi-Evolution card to the bottom of its owner's deck to prevent it from leaving the field. But what made this really ridiculous is being able to climb into this Metal Greymon that'll let you Digivolve something and then delete one of your opponent's 3000 DP or less. This really punished you hardcore, and it can you can swing into your opponent's stuff. On top of that, it's not a fun time. This has a lot of control and a lot of board presence, and it just becomes a very powerful boss Digimon to deal with. So stuff like that is really gonna have to be creative if you're gonna try to beat this deck. So stuff to keep on your radar there. Next is the Shoutmon ×7 deck. Like I said before, on play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. If you have Omnishout, Z Greymon, Ballistamon, Darulomon, Starmon, Sparrowmon, that's a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. This becomes a 2-cost play. So something to keep that in mind. And for every 2 cards in this Digi-Evolution card, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP, becoming a very powerful Digimon to deal with and answer with. DP removal isn't an easy way of getting around it, and you have to get rid of it in some way, somehow. But it also gains blocker through the Z Greymon. And the reason why I'm showing this off, it does have the restriction in play, and it still did quite well to get first place. It has ×3 at a full play set to alleviate the on-play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, add 2 cards with cross art or blue flare and traits among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. And luckily, it's Shoutmon, Ballistamon, and Darulomon for at least a 1 cost. And Material Save 2. You get the starter turn by deleting this Digimon, gain 1 memory. You don't have to delete it if you're not ready. You can just Digivolve up, which is another viable option. So, something to think about there. And then they did have the 1 ×4, just the combo through. But all in all, even just splashing in Mervamon here for all your Digimon with Retaliation or with Cross Art and Straight, gain Rush and Blocker, and lets you basically, when Digivolving, at least get a level 4 for free out of your trash. And that can lead to getting pieces that you're missing. And then using a very wide variety of options, using like Laser Cannon, the Lonox, Amistado, Staccato, blah. Okay, not even going to attempt it today. Grande Soul, and just being like that completely. And that's just how that goes. The deck is still powerful, and I would never say anything otherwise. Next, we do have Grandis. Grandis is doing Powerhouse because I mentioned this earlier in the video, and that is because of that 4000 DP extra boost, becoming a 16k swinger. You get over most of the Black War Greymon stuff, and that was allowing you to get pressure for game. And then you can get magic numbers through OTKing with your Digiburst 2 skills, and your goal was just to keep one of these guys in there. So that's all you're trying to do, is make sure that it keep it your turn, and you keep the piercing, so that when you swing in with the Grandis Kuwagamon, you get at least that extra damage output by the piercing. Then the deck that we know about is Minervamon Loop. So using Minervamon to be able to be popped by her effect, you use like Death Claws, or you use Evil, Megidro Flame from EX3 that basically trades off to get you Minervamon out to spit out 2 bodies. Now you can apply pressure for a 4 cost, which is slightly better than Revival from Darkness in a way, because you're not really caring about it going back into the ultimate and looping. This is basically Minervamon swing in. If she didn't die and they have 2 or less, instantly spit out and kill it to bring in Minervamon, spit out 2 more bodies, and now they have Rush and Retaliation. And boom, now your opponent has to answer this just because you just crossed heart with Ignitemon. And that's just how that's going to go. The deck is just very solid. It's just going to spit out anything with Retaliation, and they have now Blocker. Then on deletion, draw a card, then trash 1 card with Dark Rizamon. Soulmon is all your Digimon with Retaliation get plus 2000 DP for all turns. gets retaliation. Then you have Blue Marimon, so retaliation when digivolving, draw 2 cards, then trash 2 cards from your hand. Helps speed you up. And then when you would play a Digimon by an effect, gain a memory. It's all great power. And then you can just even more damage output with Black War Growlmon. So all in all, the deck is just going to do what it needs to do. And even having like Evil Squall, being able to delete 5 of your opponent's unsuspended level 5 or lower Digimon, can really apply a lot of damage, especially when it's a 7 cost. So stuff like that really does make a difference. And then we have Machinedramon, baby. So with Analog Man being the new bread and butter of the deck, start your main phase by trashing 1 level 5 card with Cyborg and Straits from your hand, gain 1 memory, draw a card. When your opponent's Digimon attacks a player, by suspending this tamer, you may switch the target of the attack to one of your level 6 Digimon with machines in his traits. Bada bing, bada boom. Being able to redirect. Who thought that was a great idea? But now your Digimon can really survive most attacks in ways that you weren't ready for. Let's even just take in this Machinedramon here. On play, when Digivolving, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 Analog Man among them to your hand. And 1 card with Machine or Cyborg and Straits among them to your hand. Or to the bottom of the Digi-Evolution cards. Trash the rest. Speeds you up. Really can get you ready for your Machinedramon play. On deletion, by returning 1 of your Analog Mans in play to the bottom of the owner's deck, you may play 1 Machinedramon from your hand without paying its memory costs. So, basically, once this one dies, instantly bring out this Machinedramon and get a bunch of pieces underneath it. Now you're set up to go right into Chaosdramon, who can de-digivolve 1 of your opponent's Digimon for every card placed. If you place 3, instantly brings them possibly back to a rookie. Who would have thought that was really useful? And then it both have self-protection from leaving the field by returning hand or deck, or by deleting by trashing 2 level 5s from Digi-Evolution, prevent it. But this one gives protection by battle. But X really does round it up, because now both of these are both live at the same time. It gets ridiculous pretty quickly. So it's going to be very interesting using these pieces to get there. It is a very interesting deck in itself, and it just how it likes to be played. Then we do have the All Force Veedramon. So using stuff like Taichi V-Tamer, so draw a card. So if you have a Digimon that contains Veedramon in its name, by resting this card, activate 1 of the effects, draw a card. And then you have like Jerry that lets you, if you're not seeing your rookies, at least play a Leomon, and then you can climb up from there, is another way of going about it. And especially, it's a very powerful blocker, just because you'll have Blue Tamers on board. On deletion, gain 2 memory, draw a card. Really useful. But also another thing to keep in mind, that's Babydomon. When this Digimon with Drawmon, All Force Veedramon is key here. In its name, becomes unsuspended, gain 1000 DP, making you be able to apply pressure. So the goal of the game is using your most powerful card in the game, and that is your credit card, because you know Arena is going to be expensive. Because the ability to give your Digimon Veemon or Veedramon in its name blocker and evade, really nasty until the end of opponent's turn, but all turns when 1 of your Digimon with Veedramon in its name becomes suspended. By suspending this tamer, activate 1 of its when digivolving effects, because you can use All Force Veedramon to play another tamer with this effect, and then when you play another tamer, unsuspend him, basically causing an infinite loop sometimes in situations, depending on what you can do. But once we get X antibody, you can at least restand this way too. So something to think about there. But all in all, great deck. And it came out of the woodworks once you didn't have to play Turbo to Shoutmon. So just something to think about there. Then Mastemon is the name of the game. Using the new Mirai, who's going to be probably a little bit more money too. When you would Digivolve into a Digimon with Angelomon or Lady Devi, if you have 1 or less Digimon in play, by spending this tamer, you may play 1 Angelomon or Lady Devi from your hand with a different name from the Digi-Evolution cards without playing its memory cost. Basically getting a free Jagras for game shenanigans, because if you had Mirai up at least once, then you have Gatomon. Instantly passing your turn really does matter. Now you're all set to get your big mama here, Mastemon. So place a yellow or purple Digimon card from your trash on top of your security stack face down. Then if this Digimon DNA Digivolved, you may look at your security stack and play a level 5 or lower Digimon card in it without paying its memory cost. then shuffle your security stack. You're shuffling the security stack regardless of what you do, so just something to think about there. And then all turns, when you play another Digimon by an effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a level less than or equal to that played Digimon's level. So this gets the control board. We have new ways of playing Digimon for free, basically. And using stuff like Chaos Degradation can really apply pressure to your opponent. So stuff to really think about, like even using Ignitemon, being able to pop something to delete less than or equal to deleted, it helps board control. And then when you play a Digimon by effect, gain a memory. So this can lead to being very powerful with Gatomon, going into Mastemon, and then boom, get a free body out of the deal. All that fun, good stuff. So all in all, stuff you guys should be really taking from this video is hopefully you found it informative and maybe gave you decisions on what to start going for in BT11, especially with regionals. I wouldn't say fully invest into Black War Greymon. They will, if it's going to stay this high like Shoutmon did for multiple formats, you're going to have issues. So stuff like that you should keep on your radar and just say, well, I should not max rarity this deck if I'm expecting it to be hit. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!